Welcome to the Sunday Superversive live stream. I am your host, Benjamin Wheeler, and I'm here with my co host, Anthony Marchetta. Anthony, how are you doing today?
Incredible.
Incroyable, even. Uh,
Mhm.
we're here today with good friend of the show, Cirsova of Cirsova Magazine, the premier pulp magazine in our spheres, and indeed, in my humble opinion, the world. And that's not just the Talmudic network that lives in the drainage system under my apartment telling me to say this, Cirsova. I genuinely mean it. No coercion.
Hey, well, I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Anyway,
He's taking a big risk saying that.
taking a big risk. So, what brings us here today is that we've been supporters of the Mongoose and Meerkat project over several streams, and from what I understand, this is the big one, the entire collection in one place. With a whole bunch of different rewards for the Kickstarter to support it and put a bow on it. Why don't you take us away and tell us a bit about it, and just so sort of show us what's new and what's different and what all you're offering.
All right. Well, the Complete Mongoose and Meerkat is collecting all 18 of the original short stories in a single volume. We've got some new illustrations for it, and we also have an all-new epilogue that features Diney and Kyrie, who were the mercenary sisters who showed up fairly close to the end, but were not actually in the last battle at the end of the final book. And so this is sort of an explanation as to where they were at, what they were doing, and what was going on with them, and how that ties into possible future stories that take place in the Mongoose and Meerkat setting. So for this particular Kickstarter, we've got a couple different formats. We've got the typical ebook. We've got a retail softcover edition, but we've also got this oversized storybook edition that has a really cool reversible dust jacket, so that it's got mongoose on one side, meerkat on the other, and you can have whichever one as you want as the front. This storybook edition is large print, and it has the art reproduced at as close to the original resolution as possible. So it's a little bit smaller than the actual physical pieces that Dark Philly sent us, but it's about as close as you'll get in print. We have also got several cool little add-ons. We got a few character cards that have art by Star 2, who did our illustrated Stark project. On the front, they have the portraits of the characters, and on the reverse, they include the RPG bonus stats for the characters that we included in some of the original Kickstarters. We also have a sort of plush pillow cover add-on that's got mongoose on one side, meerkat on the other, and the art for that is done by Maya as a Ghost, or Ghost Maya. And if you have bought all of the books and don't want to have to buy the collection again, but you do want some of the new add-ons and you want the new bonus story, we have a special physical add-on ticket tier that for $2 that covers your shipping for if we hit any of the physical stretch goal stuffs. You can add on whatever bonus things you want without having to buy the book again, and we will send you a digital copy of Chasing the Cat Sword, which is the new epilogue.
Fantastic.
It also looks like we are about $60 away, give or take a few bucks, from hitting our second stretch goal, which is to send free trading cards to all physical backers and anyone who got the physical add-on tickets. So they're going to have the Osh red art, the portrait with the cat in blue and mongoose in red on the front, and they'll have the little short bios on the back like we've been doing for our other Cirsova trading cards.
Nice. Those are pretty nice. I've got quite a few of those myself.
And you know, if
you
even if you just sign up for the add-on ticket, we might send you a few of the trading cards that we have left from our other stuff, because we've still got a handful of those left. I think all the trading cards for J.D. Cowan's book Star Wanderers are all gone, but we still have trading cards for some of the other projects.
That was a nice project. I remember that one. So, do we talk about the $8,000 bonus story yet?
We have not talked about the bonus story yet. Right now, one of the things that we're talking about doing is including one story that we published from Jim in the magazine. It was originally going to be a stretch goal story for another project, but we did not quite hit the stretch goal to include it, and it hasn't been collected anywhere. But it's a fun little sort of meta fictional story called Just Another Crappy Story That Kills Everyone in It. I don't know if you guys may have remembered that one from the magazine, but the concept behind that is that in fictional stories, all of the characters exist meta-narratively as actors within the story. And so you have this impetus to have a story be finished written, even if it is a bad story, because if the story gets finished, all the characters within the story get to, you know, go on to the next thing and next project and be actors in that. But if you never finish writing the story, or if it just kind of peters out and gets trunked, all of the characters who are part of that story just get stuck in that narrative where it bogs down forever. And we just thought that was sort of a cute and fitting story that would fit well with this collection, because we're sort of doing Mongoose and Meerkat as an all ages collection. So it's got stuff that'll appeal to everybody, but it's got a little bit of a young reader's bent. So we wanted a story that wouldn't be too far afield of what we've got in the main collection.
Sounds good. I always do appreciate that sort of thing. With a cast of characters like Mongoose and Meerkat, these things can often become adult quite easily, but there's no fear of that here. We also have images for sale, which are quite nice. We have the body pillow cover.
And we wanted to do all ages with that too, you know. So it's something that you can give to your kids, so they can have like a little huggable cat or huggable mongoose.
You just flip it over. If the son doesn't like it, you can give it to the daughter.
Yeah.
If the son likes the mongoose too much, maybe you have to talk to him about some things. Maybe he needs to flip it over to the cat side.
Yeah. Well, we would love to do little plushies or figurines of these guys someday at some point. And I think it's called Hero Forge that does custom minis. I've actually made some really cool looking cat and mongoose miniatures that I could theoretically have them print off and deliver, but they are for non-commercial use only, which is one of the reasons why I haven't really gone forward with it. So.
Sure, I get you.
But yeah, you mentioned the art. We have several pieces of original interior artwork that's for sale. We've sold a few of them, but there's still plenty of good ones left. If you really want to support Cirsova Publishing and get some cash in our pockets so we can commission more cover art and more interior art in the future, backing for those is a really good way to do it.
Oh yeah. That's the best part about working with you and promoting your stuff. You do deliver, and those who might be, you know, a little bit unshy about this particular what's the word I want? This particular Kickstarter, because sometimes, you know, people get that way about these crowd funds. It's already funded. You've got a lot of the work already done, it sounds like. A lot of it comes down to just sort of getting the money together for this project. And I understand you have a whole lot of other projects as well.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. Of course, the spring issue is coming out next month. As soon as Mongoose and Meerkat is out the door, we have a new Dracoheim book from Misha Burnett. Yeah. After that, we've got Ken Lizzie, Cesar the Bravo, and then the next Collected Wild Stars, and then we've got a few more things further down the road, including Dreamlord's Legacy from Adrian Cole, which will collect all of the new Dreamlord stuff that we've been publishing in Cirsova since 2016.
And that wasn't collected in the excellent Dreamlords trilogy book you released earlier a couple months ago, I think.
Now. Yeah, that one was a 50th anniversary that collected the 3 original novels from the 70s. That thing is thick as a brick, and the next volume is going to be pretty thick as well. So we weren't able to put it all in one book together. But next year will be the 10th anniversary of the new Dreamlord stuff, which the first story of which we published in our second issue back in 2016.
Right. I gotcha. Okay. We'll look forward to that one then. I do remember that one fondly. You also have a spring issue of Cirsova coming out. Yep. What do we have to look forward to for that?
Oh man. Let me pull it up right quick, because I've already been working on the fall and winter issues, so it's easy to forget what all we've got going on. We're going to be starting the serialization of the next Wild Stars novel, Wild Stars 9, Flight from Reckoning. But we've also got a bunch of other things going on in this one. Let me double check and see where... I can get that pulled up and tell you a little bit about. Oh, so one of the other things we're doing is we are publishing a cycle of short novella length and novelette length stories by Jim Brayfogle this year that take place at different eras of a fictionalized fantasy version of the North Shore of the Mediterranean. And so we're going to be starting that cycle in this issue with Salt Roses. We've got the return of Richard Rubin's Burke Fletcher and The Siege of Varisa. You might remember him as the guy from the cover with the blue girl shooting the ray gun at the barbarian monster things from a couple of summers ago. J.D. Cowan has another one of his Star Wanderers stories in this issue, Void Railway, that sort of expands that universe and introduces a new Galactic Enforcer character. And we've got another Mickey Vance story from William Drell. That was a really popular character last year when we first introduced him, so we're happy to be getting another story with that character. We got a few other things, but those are some of the really big highlights of this issue.
Sounds like a real all-star cast. A lot of old favorites coming back in, and I think it'll be a great little piece for us to buy. I always try to keep up with Cirsova magazine. Sometimes it is, difficult with everything that does come out. I was just looking through and I was seeing a whole bunch of different, things being released. It's like I caught track of like 10 different calls for anthologies
Yeah.
from, some different places. And I don't really follow the anthologies. I probably should because I mostly write short stories. But it's difficult to put everything in one place. Are you expecting a call for submissions anytime soon?
We are actually kind of doing a long, slow wind down. We are going to keep the magazine running for a little while because, we've got our 10th anniversary coming up, but we're mostly going to be focusing on past contributors, ongoing series, and stuff like that. So I don't think we're going to be doing an open submission call this year. It's just been too much work with all the other things that I have going on, all the projects I have. The magazine itself is a huge loss leader for us. Projects like Mongoose and Meerkat and Dreamlords and Star Wanderers have all made great money for us, which all immediately gets drained away by the magazine. So we're never able to really keep things in the black. So we're going to try to scale back on the magazine side of things a little bit and retool the business towards what's actually working for us. Now, the magazine's not going away, but I'm not going to be bogging myself down late summer with 200 stories, 150 of which I won't be able to buy.
Right. Yeah, no, I heard something like that. You wanted to put it out on the stream because we do have we do promote the thing here. I'm gonna.
I'm also hoping that that'll actually let me get some of my own reading in.
You're not allowed to read Cirsova. Let's be real. You only publish, don't never read. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I read a ton of stuff, but so much of it is just the stuff I get in submissions or that I have that I'm looking to be publishing for my other authors. It's hard to squeeze other stuff in, but I've been trying really hard to get like at least one or two other books a month read just on my own. Like right now, I'm in the middle of oh gosh, what's it called now? I'm forgetting, but it's David Skinner's omnibus anthology of all of his short stories. I've been reading that. It's been really good.
Nice. I dig it. I do dig it. So let's wind back a bit. You've got so many projects. I guess the one I'll focus on for my own personal interest is Misha Burnett's Dracoheim collection. Why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Well, Misha had a few published stories in the Fantastic Schools anthologies, and he used that to introduce a new character to the Dracoheim lore, Leonid Vetch, who is a professor of magical industrial sciences at a community technical college in a fantastic setting.
Right.
And so Dracoheim Confidential is a collection of several of the Leonid Vetch stories, as well as a handful of new Eric Ruger stories. So if you are interested in magic stories that are told with a hard science fiction approach, this has got some really interesting gems in it because in the Dracoheim setting, magic has become so commonplace that it's no longer mysterious and wondrous and fairy-like. It's just another science where the magical elements can be quantified, studied, and used as another applied science. And so you have you still end up with strange, uncanny things happening because it's a science that is just on the cutting, bleeding edge of frontiers of the unknown, but it's becoming better understood as people are experimenting with it in controlled settings.
Right. I get you. That's pretty cool. Yeah. There's actually a just for those who are fans of the Fantastic Schools setting. There is a new one that's just been put on the publisher's desk that I finished the formatting for. So we'll be eating good tonight and most nights for all the stuff that's coming out. That does sound pretty interesting. I might have some friends who are interested in that.
Yeah.
Might gift them a copy or two. Autistic friends.
The best kind.
Yes. No, more engineering friends.
Yeah,
No,
so it's got a mix of the almost Campbellian stories interspersed with the crime noir stories.
okay. Okay, I like that. Because like not that I'm like as deep a reader of Campbell's stuff as I've read, the pulps. But I actually kind of liked his stuff a bit better than is popular to say in our circles. So I think this might be up our alley because the whole like weird stuff like psychic powers and whatnot. I actually kind of like their inclusion when they randomly showed up in a story or something. It was always kind of a shocker, and then it was also kind of BS, but that's all right. Let's see. So Draco Heim's pretty good. I guess we'll have to have JD Cohen on sometime in the future to talk about Star Wanderers closer to when that comes out.
Oh, well, Star Wanderers is out, but we may be looking at some other stuff from JD here in the future. We can't talk too much about it, but
I thought, okay, so it wasn't like more Star Wanderers. It's a new project by the author of Star Wanderers. I get you.
You're probably thinking of the new story in the spring issue that I mentioned.
You know what? That does sound right. I'm sorry. A note to the audience. I'm a bouncer. And so I got to bed by about 4 o'clock last night and then tried to wake up for church. So if ever I seem out of it, that entirely explains everything. All right. So the Dracoheim is the next major project, but JD Cohen's is a Star Wanderer story in the
spring,
next
yeah.
issue in spring. Okay. Let's see. We talked about Mongoose and Meerkat. We've talked about future projects. I guess we'll talk a bit more about the magazine. You said you wanted a bit more time to read and for other projects. Why don't you vision cast for us a little bit what you can talk about anyway, and sort of see where it's going? Because Cirsova has been a pillar of the the sort of area for quite some time. Is it a competition thing? Just lost leader, sure, but now it's too much of a lost leader. Oh,
it's not that it's too much of a lost leader. It's that it's a huge time sink. I mean, I spend all my time on this aspect of the publishing business that loses me money. I'd rather spend more time on the stuff that actually makes money. And one of the things that I want to do more of is focused anthologies because I mean we made money on Mighty Sons of Hercules, and that actually paid out the authors better than the magazine does. So we just put out the official solicit for the second volume of Mighty Sons of Hercules. We've got stories in already from three of the past contributors. Two of them are printed out in my to be read pile, and I've also got the last 3 Wild Stars novels in a pile waiting to be read and edited. So, I mean, I have no shortage of things to work on in the future coming up.
I dig it. I guess I'll pick your brain about a few more things, unless there's more you want to talk about Mongoose and Meerkat.
Yeah, well, for those who don't know, I mean, I mostly talk about what's offered in the project, but I haven't really had a chance to talk about what the stories are. Mongoose and Meerkat is a series of adventure stories about a young rogue or a young bravo who's teamed up with a rogue from a northern country that is under hostile occupation. And they go on various adventures together trying to make a buck, and they sort of get to know each other a little bit better. The rogue character Meerkat kind of keeps mostly to herself, but she's got these long-reaching plans that she's clearly saving up her portion of the spoils to put her various plans into action, while Mongoose is mostly focused on, you know, creature comforts, good food, good drink, getting things that would make him appear more respectable. Like he wants a really nice sword so that people will take him seriously as a swordsman. But really the focus of the stories through the sequence is the growth of Mongoose as a character, how he sort of comes to mature and understand that, you know, there's more to life than just, you know, adventuring and keeping his belly full, and whether or not he can become someone who is not just an adventurer, someone who's a hero.
That's a great story. I like it. I like it a lot, and it's been popular with readers and fans alike.
Yeah, it's been one of our fan favorite series that we published in Cirsova magazine, and all the books have done really well. And this is just sort of one last big chance to give it a really big push to try to get a new audience for it, grow its readership, and kind of bring it in to just get more eyes on it.
Absolutely, and this covers the length and breadth of their adventures, from starting out to the grand finale.
Yep, you get it all in one place.
Yep. And and it's an illustrated book too, isn't it?
Yes, it's fully illustrated. It's got somewhere in the neighborhood of 26 illustrations, I think, maybe more.
And of course, you can buy the prints of those through the Kickstarter as well, which you mentioned. All right. Excuse me a second.
While Ben is busy, I will entertain the crowd with jokes. I say that, but I actually have absolutely no jokes in mind. Know any jokes?
No, I'm at a little bit of a loss. I didn't come prepared for levity.
So we say this. This is probably one of those things that we should keep quiet, but we've been pretty open about saying this in past shows, so I will now. I did not know you would be on at all. Ben told me literally about 30 seconds before we got on. Oh, by the way, Cirsova's coming on. And I said, oh, okay then. So if you're wondering why I'm here and just like, I'll let Ben roll with this one. That's why. I'm interested in all of the news though. So there's that.
I mean, it's good to have you around. I mean, we haven't had opportunities to chat very often lately.
It's true. So uh here you go. Here's a question. So I've got my own thing going, High Tower Magazine. Uh this is I put out 2 Superversive short stories every month. It is funded by us. We pay $10 a story. Me, Ben, and David, and we got I forget the term, like I guess an angel donation would be the term from Ken Dickinson, who was originally one of the editors, but for his own personal reasons had to drop out. But he let us keep his donation. So we have funded it through our own money. We don't expect it to make money. 2 short stories a month, and we're going to be opening up submissions again, probably around maybe June. So considering that, what would your advice be to me to keep this viable? Because I'll tell you my own philosophy right now. It's the name of the game for me is sustainability. It's don't promise to do anything that you don't know with 100% certainty you can do. Uh, don't get ambitious. So I've been doing like we're gonna have an anthology of the stories at the end of the year. I know we can do that, especially with Ben's help. Uh, and we're going to put out the 2 short stories every month and $10 a story. Like that's it. No, someone's asked me in the past, like, are you going to get illustrations? No, not right now. Maybe in the future when I am 100% sure that we can afford it. So, what's your opinion on this? What do you think I should be doing since you've run a
Well,
magazine for a
if you're
while?
doing it monthly, you actually have a good incentive to do the Patreon model and get subscribers that way. I mean, one of the things that makes it tricky for Cirsova is because we're doing it in print. We focus on being a print magazine first and foremost, and also because we don't have the monthly schedule, it makes me a little bit hesitant to set up something like a Patreon, since it dings people on a monthly basis, and we don't have monthly content to offer people. But I think you could actually get enough subscribers to cover your costs that way quite easily through something like Patreon. How are you distributing the stories right now? Are you doing ebook or just publishing on a website, or what are you doing?
Substack.
Substack.
We're using Substack, so it's free at the moment. Like I said, the name of the game early on, I gave a mission statement early to the other editors, which are Ben and David Hallquist. Uh, and the mission statement early was, I want us to be around in 10 years. Like it's a very modest mission statement, but I've seen people. I'm not gonna say who because they're our friends and I like them and I don't want them to get insulted and like get defensive if I say their name. But I know people who have tried to do like bigger projects and then the projects are very impressive and they even accomplished some impressive things, but they just couldn't keep it up because like it was way too big
Yeah,
for them. Right.
yeah,
So I'm
we're
like,
kind of an
my goal
outlier
is
having.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, yeah, we're kind of an outlier having lasted for 10 years,
Hmm.
because and doing it quarterly, no less. And I mean, a lot of it has been just out of pocket and just not giving up. But the other thing, for me anyway, has been that the side projects ultimately are what have kept us alive. Like, I think if we had not picked up Mongoose and Meerkat or doing Misha Burnett's anthologies, we would not have the money to have stuck around as long as we have.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like I said, right now we run very, very cheap. Like we put literally between the 3 of us, we put in $10 a month. And if you math whizzes out there might count that we're paying $10 a story and there are 2 stories per month and there are 3 editors. So that puts us an extra $10 per month in the red, plus Ken's money as an angel investor. So we're building up now. That money is going to go towards like the formatting of the ebook, which again is going to be very, very simple, right? Like it's not going to be a big ambitious project or anything.
You don't need money for formatting an ebook. Just dump it in Caliber.
That's good to know. Thank you. I really don't know.
I wasn't going to charge you, Anthony.
Aw, adorable. Nice. Okay, so I say all of this, and you're right. Like Cirsova is it's a very impressive project that's lasted as long as it did. And it's in some ways, I'm gonna say it's not the model for Hightower, but it's certainly an inspiration. It's certainly
you guys are doing something completely different from what we're doing. So I don't know how much of my own advice would be helpful because they'd be working on completely different models.
I get you. Yeah, like I said, growth is one of those things. Like I don't want to say it's not important to me, but it's very much like if we spend 5 years doing exactly what we're doing right now, I would be satisfied as long as we were regularly coming out with a product for 5 years. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I wouldn't like to grow. And certainly, like one of the things, if you ask me what the first thing I would like to get, it would be something like illustrations. Making money is not even like I don't ever expect this to make money. What was that, Ben?
Cover art or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Telling you though, get a Patreon and just be like, if you give us $3 a month, we'll send you the ebook of this, and people will pay it. And you get 10 people, and that's $30. People will pay more. You might get whales. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good thing to keep in mind. Because right now, we did have one investor, so precisely one, and that is David's brother. So David Hallquist, our other editor, his brother threw us $80 just because he liked the project. I've talked to his brother before. Very nice guy, very appreciated. But we haven't asked yet. However, that's probably going to be the next step. So I appreciate that advice because running it through Substack.
Also, if consider like running an ad at the end of each story.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that because I'm not sure how Substack specifically works. I am definitely mercenary enough to do that. I do know that there are people, and I even respect them, actually. Like, I respect the stance of, like, oh, I don't do advertising, I don't like it or whatever. I am definitely mercenary enough that I would do ads as long as it wasn't something I considered to be inherently immoral. You're not going to see me doing an ad for Planned Parenthood anytime soon. But Raycon earbuds.
Come on down, we're giving discounts.
Earbuds? Yeah. Did you know that Raycon earbuds are the best earbuds? And that NordVPN is the most affordable VPN? This is a joke that only people who watch a ton of YouTube, like Ben and I, will get.
Are you listening to your Nord ads on your Raycon earbuds?
Yeah. Yes. World of Tanks. What a
while
great
eating
that
factor.
Is.
All right, I'm back on my feet, guys. I do want to say that I do like the look of the Mongoose and Meerkat omnibus hardcover. It's an easy $50 for, quite frankly, great quality. It's going to look good on your shelf. The other Mongoose and Meerkats I own look good on their shelves too. It's really just one of those things that can really help out both a Kickstarter project and the own look of what you're trying to go for with your wonderful, wonderful bookshelves full of many books that you bought from friends like Cirsova magazine. See that, advertisers? You can get an ad read like that every time. But no, but that is probably what I'm going to pledge to this Kickstarter. I just had to get my head back in the game. But that is some good advice for those who are maybe looking for their own projects. Just because we were talking about this before the show, there are a ton of places that are doing their own projects right now, especially on the right-wing side of things, which is pretty. It's pretty nice to see, but it's a little overwhelming in its scope. So focusing down on what Cirsova, the magazine's great, but these anthologies have been doing very good as well. So it can't hurt anything to focus in, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so we're about $1,500 away from the stretch goal to get another bonus story added in. We could really use some more sales on the dockies. They were kind of done as a joke because a couple people kept posting just as jokes, hey, you should get docky covers. And I was like, no, that's kind of off brand for us. And then Jim's like, actually, I saw it and I think it'd be really funny and fun to do. So we ended up getting talked into doing them. We need to sell about a dozen of them. So far, we've sold maybe 5. If we sell a dozen of them, it'll have been worth it and have paid for itself. But we got to move some of those.
I dig it. If that's your thing, me, I'm holding out for. You should have him write a short story with a naga on it, a nice snake woman with a nice long hard body, and then we make the Dakimakura super extra long. It's what the people crave. I heard this in economic classes. You just create the demand. If you have the supply, it creates the demand. Yeah. Anyway.
Here's a little hot business tip. If you want to sell your magazine, burn down a library.
Is there an explanation for that, Anthony?
You create the demand. I thought that's what we were discussing. Did I misunderstand?
No. Just do it to be safe.
Oh, Anthony.
Anthony. Usually I'm the wacky one. Yeah, so I put in my pledge for that. I always like doing it not on the stream, but talking about it on the stream.
And we hit our stretch goal.
Woo!
Thanks to you, everybody will get those free trading cards.
Woo! To be fair, I had completely forgotten that the stretch goal was $50 away. But no, I do like showing. There's a thing that's difficult in our circles, basically, the friend-enemy distinction. I try to take it very seriously. There's, like I saw a post by Isaac Young where he talks. It's this Chad talking to Wojak, right? The classic maneuver, and the guy basically is explaining. So the left believes this. The Chad says. The Wojak says, no, they can't possibly believe it. That's insane. Yes, they believe it. It's insane. No, they can't possibly believe it. No, I'm telling you that they believe it. It's the same with their friend-enemy distinction. They hold all similar people as friends when the chips are down, specifically. I know I'm playing Balatro, but in the background. But like when the chips are down, every left-wing group will, as a general rule, support every other left-wing group. The right is doing it more and more because of the recent troubles that we've had over the last many, many years. But it's still kind of not percolating like I like it to. Cirsova is friend-coded.
So I think what you're saying is is true in a lot of cases, but I think there's more There are getting to be some cracks among the left. I think actually what you're seeing. So it's not so much that they all will be friends when the chips are down, as they are all controlled by a lot of the same people. But this is why you occasionally see that some real like left-wing true believers will get disillusioned and break ranks. The big one recently that we've seen is RFK, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I don't trust RFK as far as I can throw him, right? Like, I would not have voted for him for president. I wouldn't even vote him for governor. I would, however, have made him the whatever the position is called. I keep wanting to say Surgeon General, but that's not it. Uh, Executive Health Officer or something,
Secretary
right?
of Health and Human
Yeah,
Services.
thank you. The Secretary of Health and Human Services. Like I would make him Secretary of Health and Human Services. I would not vote for him because he's a left-wing true believer, and there are a lot of those in like especially the boomer class. You also see it with like even some SJWs like J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling, it's kind of ironic that there are people who will I've always pushed back against this. Like, I'm very careful in what I say about J.K. Rowling because people will be like, "Oh, we gotta support Rowling." Like, no, you don't. You don't need to support Rowling. I promise you. Number one, she's doing just fine. Uh, she does not need your support. I assure you. She's a billionaire. And number two, J.K. Rowling hates you. Uh, like you. I mean, you, the right. If you have right wing beliefs, she thinks you're scum. She's made this very clear. It's just the fact though she was an actual true believer, right? She was a feminist. So she correctly noted that the trans ideology and feminism do not make any sense when mixed with each other. Right? Now, what Ben's talking about is, oh, why do they, they'll all be friends when the chips are down, right? Well, that's because none of the people who are running this stuff really believe it. They don't really care either way. They'll ally with each other because, it's all about the tearing down of Christianity and Western civilization. But J.K. Rowling was not about that. She was a true believer in the feminist agenda. So she correctly noted that trans ideology doesn't make sense with it. Now, the reason that the left, then the rank and file left, then turned on Rowling is because most of them aren't true believers, or if they are true believers, they don't even really think about it very hard, right? Like, oh, she's being mean to trans people. It's going to make them commit suicide, right? So she's a bad person. Uh, and then that's magnified and sold to them, and everybody turns on Rowling. On the right, this whole idea that we need to support each other on the right, I agree with you, but we're going to need to motivate it among ourselves, if that makes sense. Like, because the right is not and cannot and never will be unified in the way that the left is, nor should it be.
Sure. I agree with you in the fundamental sense, but the problem is we've talked about this actually recently on stream, so I don't want to hash it out too much. But the reason why Superversive died as a publishing company is because of immediate infighting among supposedly right wing but really left wing leaning individuals. It's there's no mincing the words about it. So it's like, well, the reason why I encourage this so vocally, right? It's why I have Cirsova on is at least once a year, maybe more. Whenever he has a Kickstarter, certainly I either have him or the author who's heading it, is because I want to support them. I want to support them with more than my money, but also I want to make sure that if anyone's looking for them, that there's plenty of evidence that they work, that there was concrete declarations of quality, of fulfilling promises, all this other stuff that's good to have. Mongoose and Meerkat is a proven IP. Therefore, I will support it. If Cirsova was just a meme lord, sorry to talk, Cirsova, I'm talking about you in the third person. I'm sorry, but I'll get right back to
It's
you.
fine.
Listen, is that he's worth supporting. Now, I don't there's a difference between supporting and not working against. There are right-wing publications that I don't really support their public persona, perhaps because their pulpy illustrations are a little too palpating instead of pulpy, if you get me. But they're collections of short stories, which I have in another room and not in my eyesight, so I'm of course going to forget the name of it. But their collections of short stories are actually pretty good. They're Campbellian sort of harder science fiction romps with a little bit of that softness I like. With these weird ideas in it and stuff like that I enjoy. But I can't really publicly support them as much as I want to, because if I share their stuff around, people are going to take a look at women who are too scantily clad for this ice planet. A bikini in this ice planet with, so it's hard to do it. But at the same time, I don't want to go against them, not because I fear them. I don't fear anybody or anything like that. I don't care about the consequences for half the crap I do, and for the other half of the crap I care about the consequences for, is because it affects people I care about. But there's no outside motivation to change the things that I do for it. And as long as Cirsova does his thing, he's always going to have a great thing, because fundamentally, like, I've seen so many left-wing types, trans kids, whatever, they'll make a Kickstarter for Candyland War Redux, Kingdoms, Grandma Nuts Revenge. And then they'll have like multiple mental breakdowns trying to put out a card game. Like,
yeah.
Like, what do you mean you had a mental breakdown? It's just so stressful. I've opened up another project. Why not just finish the first project? It was a card game. Like, Pip and Pipka did one that was particularly famous and insane because the person might be a literal schizophrenic. But it's what you're right in the sense of, now that they've lost their main center leadership, their elite power, because we're elite theorists here, apparently. Great men of history rise up, whoop whoop. Which personally, just so you guys know, this is my actual cracked schizophrenic theory. Are you ready? I think Kissinger was the last competent leader who was truly in power, and he's dead.
I think Kissinger was Clown World.
Oh, he was, but he was a left wing. He was the leader of our opposition, is what I'm trying to say. Not us being opposition, the left. And I think with his death, there was a power vacuum and such. Like, someone lost the blackmail USB and couldn't use it right. Because I know in St. Louis, some agents were moved about. Campaign managers switched up rather suddenly.
I will say that I never used to be a believer in the Kennedy assassination conspiracy theories, and I suspect that even with the declassified documents, we're not going to get anything interesting.
What do you think, Cirsova? Do you think you can run a whole pulp magazine about JFK, the reasons for JFK's assassination from different angles?
You could do a special issue.
Yeah, I don't think I would be the one to do that. I don't know the kind of writers who would be a good fit for it. I mean, I'm sure you could if you got enough of the conspiracy and crime writers working on it, but those guys are kind of outside my scene.
Fair enough. We'll work on it. We'll put a pin in this and come back later in the conversation.
Yeah. Where I was trying to go with it, though, is that now over time, I have come to believe that there was 100% definitely something weird going on with the assassination. Though what the weird thing is, I'm not completely sure, except that I am pretty sure the CIA was involved. I know, hot take right there, but there you
go. Yeah. I guess excuse me, losing. I keep losing track of my train of thought. But I guess I wanted to pick your brain about this sort of thing with you, Cirsova. There's a lot more projects going on. Arc Publishing seems to be the big new kid on block, almost certainly powered by somebody's network or other. And I don't mean anyone specific. I just mean that there is.
I've heard the conspiracy theories on it.
I'm just saying that there's more than a few conspiracy theories. I'm of the opinion that it's all technocrats all the way down. But, not. It's hard because, like, all the conspiracy theories are real. And it's hard to, like, just talk about them.
It would be funny if Thiel was the one who was bankrolling it, but
I think he's bankrolling Passage Press.
I thought that somebody's getting bankrolled. I don't know though. Passage Press. Who are they again?
They published Curtis Yarvin, and they had that big dinner on the election.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, don't get me wrong; they have really good. Like their volumes are fantastic. Like I've got a Robert E. Howard set of hardcovers. Oh, the Masterwork collection. It is. I can't even read it. I just look at it. But no, if like it's not a question of whether they're getting bankrolled. It's who, and I feel like I saw a couple posts saying it was Peter Thiel. But ignoring elites being elites and patroning the art as they usually do, I just wondered like how you view the air we breathe in. How you view the environment for publishers and anthologies, this sort of thing that you do.
I mean, it's a mixed bag, but it always has been. There are still plenty of opportunities for people who are willing to put in the work. Some doors are opening, other doors are closing. It's just always a pain having to deal with Amazon, but that is the place where people buy books. There's always the talk about, oh, how can we interrupt the market? How can we do this or do that? But it's not going to matter as long as Amazon is the place that people buy books. You need to have your books on Amazon because that is where people will buy them.
It's true. I know that the recent, I wouldn't even call it a scandal just because there's nothing to do with it, but like with the whole you can't download your books onto USB anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's annoying, but it only affects people who don't. It's not affecting most people who are whale e-readers. I mean, those are the people who, they buy the books and download them straight to their e-readers. Most people aren't reading ebooks on their computer. I mean, some are, but the vast majority of them are not. Well, I understand why the pro-piracy crowd is mad about it. And I mean, I have no problem with people making digital backups and copies of things. And I mean, I don't have an e-reader device. This essentially means I can no longer buy and consume Amazon ebooks because the only way I ever read them was on my computer using Caliber because that's the only e-reader I had. But the vast majority of people are not affected by this.
Yeah. That's kind of, with that, like I have a very old Kindle, and so like I can no longer use it, but I wasn't really using it anyway because I just put everything on my phone. And
the thing is those Kindle devices, they also aren't really made to get digital files that aren't delivered by Amazon. Like every Kickstarter without fail, I get like one boomer who backed like at a $3 tier hassling me because they can't get the ebook to load on their Kindle and they aren't willing to do their own troubleshooting. They expect me, who does not know what kind of device they have, to figure out why this file will not work on their Kindle device. And I'm just like,
yeah.
But anyway, it has been a lot of fun, but I need to be going here soon.
It's all right. Always glad to be a support. Why don't you? What's the next project we can look forward to?
Well, the next project will be the Misha Burnett Dracoheim Confidential. But right now, definitely, if you haven't already, back Mongoose and Meerkat. Check it out. You'll love it. Your kids will love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a great series, good for all ages. And it's just fantastic stuff from Jim Brayfolk.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to both of them. And of course, like I've mentioned before, I really will look forward to Dracoheim as well. All these things are great. Be sure to support those you favor